Hey, hey. My fault. How you doing, guys? Trade recap today is gonna be short, simple, sweet to the point. I literally, unlike yesterday's trade, I still think yesterday's trade was a freaking banger. By the way, today's trade was also another banger. Um, it's just kind of crazy how when you actually follow your rules, follow your model, and everything that you need to in order to actually like see results from trading, it actually comes to light. I've been saying this a lot in my TikToks. Regardless whether I lose a trade, it's mainly because I didn't follow my rules or I did something I wasn't supposed to. When I win my trade, it's because I followed my rules and I did everything I was supposed to. It's literally that simple. Obviously, not simple in the fact that it's simple, but it's simple in the fact that if you know what you're doing, you follow everything that you're supposed to do, you follow your model, and you just keep it pushing. Anyways, let's talk about today. Don't mind that that's was so incorrect. Cause coming into today, um, we had a high time frame SMT on the hourly, and my original bias was longs because I thought we had a conflicting SMT with this SMT, but then I realized that when we first make a bearish SMT, an index has to make a lower low because remember the correlating indexes. So my whole bullish bias was kind of wrong, and we were in this gap. So that honestly kind of played into my bearish bias. We had this bearish SMT. This was a high time from SMT that was made, and with that being said, I was like, okay, mm, I'm tripping right here. High time from SMT right here. That was right. Okay, I'm tripping right here. High time from SMT. On the hourly. It's probably on the 4 hour as well, but SMTs I usually look at the 15 minute, 30 minute, and the hourly. And then coming into today, we had this hourly gap right here. Um, my whole trade was honestly based off of this hourly gap because if we came in, invalidated it, we're automatically in bearish structure. I mean, we're automatically in bullish structure because we would have closed above these highs and we would have invalidated this gap. Therefore, welcoming bullish order flow. And order flow is most essential thing that you're gonna need to know when whatever type of trading you're doing, swing trading, day trading, any type of trading. You're gonna want to know order flow because it's literally one of the most important things, as well as understanding your draw and liquidity. So yeah, we had this imbalance right here. That was like what I mainly took this play off of because if we were bullish, we would invert it. If we were bearish, we would come into this order block. We would come into this imbalance, reject from it, and then push down to these previous session draws and liquidity. Coming into today on the 5 minute. Let's start with the 15 minute actually, because this is where actually things starting to get interesting. On the 15 minute on Nasdaq, we ended up creating 15 minute equal lows pre-market, and then coming in the market open, we ended up making relatively equal lows. So we ended up creating a bunch of sell side liquidity, just due to the equal lows, the relative equal lows, and then also to the fact that we also had this bullish order block that was holding up, but we eventually came down and just inverted it, um, creating a breaker block. But besides the point, whoa, excuse me. But what we call it? We ended up creating multiple sell side liquidity on the 15 minute just due to the equal lows. The fact that price just kept on resisting to not take out the equal lows, we were just playing in a bullish order flow for the time being on the 15 minute and the 5 minute as well. Scrolling down to the 5 minute on ES, we had these 5 minute equal lows as well that I was looking for draws and liquidity that we ended up taking out. We ended up taking out, and price on Nasdaq did not take out these 15 minute equal lows. We ended up taking out these 5 minute equal lows on ES, but not on Nasdaq. We ended up creating relatively equal lows. So again, creating more sell side liquidity for my bearish bias. And going on to the 5 minute, we didn't really have anything special. We literally just came into the order block, not order block. We came into the imbalance. Price was very volatile and very, very shaking coming into the morning, coming in the market open, just mainly because we had news. We had JOLTS, ISM manufacturing, uh, prices, PMI, construction spending. We had all these news that ended up being bearish and helped with my ended up correlating with the bias. So with that being said, we were ended up coming into the day in this imbalance. We were bearish. Well, not bearish. We ended up filling in more orders. Um, Nothing really special happened, to be honest. We ended up coming down, rejecting from it, creating a 5 minute PD array, which is this 5 minute order block. I didn't really highlight it, but this is the order block right here. We ended up coming in, retraced it into the order block, and with that, I usually waited for my main 5 minute PD array today was because I usually trade a I trade a continuation model. My 5 minute PD array was this imbalance right here. I wanted to see this imbalance get inverted. I wanted an inversion off of this imbalance, and we didn't get the inversion from there. I scroll down to the 3 minute. Usually wait for another inversion on the left hand side because there will usually be two inversions, but we didn't have anything besides bearish order flow, and that's really what I got. We were also respecting. Whoa, I'm tripping. Okay, we were also respecting bearish order flow. Oh, excuse me. My bad. I had to freaking highlight that correctly. We were also respecting bearish order flow as well as equilibrium on the 3 minute. From there, if we're still respecting 3 minute, if we're still coming into the 5 minute PD rate on the 3 minute or inverting a imbalance on the 3 minute, for me that's perfect to scale down to the 1 minute. Literally just look for more precise executions. We ended up having this 1 minute order block that I didn't even seek to take entry off of, although this would have been a better entry just due to we ended up having this heavy displacement after creating this order block. We ended up getting a retrace from it. Getting a retrace, creating more orders, and from there we had a heavy displacement outwards. As well as this, we also had equilibrium tapped into. 1 minute equilibrium tapped into. So I mean, this would have been a proper entrance. I was usually I took this, not took this. I was journaling this on my notes. How it would have been a better entry. I might want to start backtesting, taking trades off of inversions and order blocks rather than just fair value gaps. Fair value gaps, equilibrium, or what you call it, 79% fib tool. So far my edge is really just fair value gaps and equilibrium and 79% fib. I do want to test order blocks because, like I said, order block, we had this order block, we ended up having to retrace into it, and then we had heavy displacement outwards, would have been an optimal entry. We also hit equilibrium as well. What I usually look for on the 1 minute is usually first my edge. Well, my edge usually consists of two confluences or more that I usually wait for, and then we had equilibrium on the fair value gap, and then we also had a retrace into the fair value gap, and my entry was average right around here. Literally right at these 15-minute lows, equal lows, which is kind of crazy. And then from there, I targeted London session lows for my first take profit, and then from there, I had Asian session lows. Let's talk about this trade because this trade was actually pretty good. On ES, we ended up taking out all these draws in liquidity, and then what I realized was coming out into these draws, we ended up creating. We ended up creating multiple equal lows on ES. Same time, we created these relatively equal lows on Nasdaq. So, we were close to hitting my take profit, but I realized that price was just not resisting, but price was creating a whole bunch of sell side. That price was gonna want to just take violently and then be able to hit the reversal, and that is exactly what we did. To say the least, we literally we were creating a lot of draws of sell side liquidity. We ended up having these equal lows as well that we ended up taking out very harshly. As you can see, heavy displacement downwards. Ended up creating sell side liquidity as well here, just with these relatively equal lows. But on EOS, I was really mainly focused on these equal lows because, like I said, it was the same time where we were getting the relatively equal lows, and ES and Nasdaq are correlated pairs. So while I was looking this, while I was realizing this, while we were making some retracements into the gaps, not gaps, into I don't even know what we were doing. We were just retracing heavily from what I realized before we hit my last take profit. I don't even think we were filling in anything because I don't think there was really anything to really fill. Um, I don't think there was anything to really fill. What should I call it? Confluence wise, but they were just retracing heavily. Not retracing, yeah, retracing, but also just making some low resistance sell side liquidity for us to just take all at once before we hit a high time frame reversal. I mean low time frame key reversal, and that is exactly what we did. If you look at ES, we ended up creating multiple draws, not draws, but not multiple, but we ended up creating sell side liquidity. Ended up more sell side liquidity with these equal lows. Ended up filling in this gap as well as retracing more, I guess, into equilibrium, I guess you could say, on retraced it, yeah, retraced into equilibrium, filled in this gap more, and then from there, as you can see, we literally just took out the sell side lows, equal lows, relatively equal lows, whatever you want to call them. Low resistance liquidity all at once. Literally, it was just a run. That's why I call low liquidity, low resistance run. I meant low liquidity resistance, whatever it's called. But we create, as you can see, we created sell side, and then from there we ended up retracing it, and then we took it all violently with just heavy displacements downwards, as you can see. From there, after we took out Asian session lows, that honestly caused the high time frame reversal for price to end up coming, reversing into this gap, inversing this gap, and then from there we were just bullish throughout the day, as you guys can just really see. Now coming into PM, basically 3 o'clock, we're gonna just be consolidating. But yeah, it's pretty much a trade entry, pretty much a trade for today. Patience definitely paid off. Rules, everything. That's what happens when you guys stick to everything. First month of April, I mean first day of April, we're starting off. We're starting off pretty good, thank God. But yeah, I'm about to journal this right now because I ended up taking the notes on my phone because I had to go somewhere. I'm gonna journal right now on my computer, film a couple TikToks, and yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys tomorrow. Trade recap, baby. I love you guys. Come give me a kiss.